What is up, winning team? This video, this series, this is an introduction video to a series that I am doing, you guys. And basically, this is about to be the best series on YouTube. Because do you know why? I am going to actually explain exactly how everything in the world is interconnected, why it's interconnected in all those ways, all these industries. Basically, everything I've been saying, everything we've been doing over the past 4 years or however long it's been that we've been on this journey together, I'm about to essentially summarize all of it. Not just summarize all of it, explain how all the industries interlock with each other, why they interlock with each other, what this has to do with the underground tunnels, what this has to do with the floods of Noah and the Nephilim, and what this has to do, basically, what is the plan and strategy of our opponent in the losing team. That is what we're about to do. We're about to go off, you guys. We're about to go off. We're finishing strong, and I'm dropping a bomb at the end of 2024 for you guys. Just in time for the holidays, I'm hoping. So buckle up. So I'm making this introduction video to explain to you guys the purposes of all of this, right? So this channel is called The Winning Team, right? And over here, we believe life's a game that's played to win. In life, there's two sides. There's two sides. When I say winning and losing, I don't mean it in the way that the world means it in terms of just winners and losers. I mean that in all of history and in all of existence itself, there are only two teams, right? The winners and the losers. That's how we look at it. There's many other ways you could describe it, which we won't get into just for now, because I want us to focus on, you will get there. So what I'm trying to paint the picture to you guys of is, right, our opponent is already going to lose. Our opponent is going to lose, but that opponent has a plan to at least bring down as many other people with them. Our opponent, of course, being the enemy, we'll refer to as. I have to be very careful, because the last time I tried to unleash this amount of truth in one go, YouTube took down my video within the hour, and I was community guidelines struck again. So I'm going to try really hard to use the right language. What I need from you guys, I need open minds and open hearts, okay? I need you to be open-minded, because the thing is, and this is why it's tough, you guys might be wondering, I have gone through a lot. It's taken all of my experiences in my entire life and all of this research for me to get here. And the thing is, it only makes sense once you hear what all the different puzzle pieces are. That's why I'm saying you have to have an open mind, because every individual topic, every individual area on its own doesn't really seem like that important, or it seems isolated. But what I've experienced in the last, week now, which is why I'm making this series, is that if you actually look at all of these pieces, eventually you'll realize it's all part of one big puzzle. And this one big puzzle is the exact plan and strategy of the enemy. So I want you guys to run with me. I'm going to be talking about a lot of different things. I'm going to be talking about every industry, every single industry. I'm going to be talking about every single level, from in the water, under the ground, on the ground, in the sky, in outer space. I'm going to explain it all. I'm going to explain what your part to play in this is, in this strategy of which our opponent is playing. I'm going to explain what our part is in this strategy that is being played, because I was obsessed, you guys. I said to God some years ago that I can't go forth into my own life and just live my life until I understand my opponent. The point is, I always say to you guys, how can you beat somebody? How can you fight against an opponent that you don't even know? Right? And that's where I think there's a huge amount of ignorance across the board with people in any type of competitive sense where there's two types of people, two sides up against each other, whether it's a war, whether it's whatever. You must understand your opponent. You must have a strategy and be observing what they are doing, right? Even the people of God, a lot of the times in the 400 years between the Old and New Testament, a lot of the times the reason they were overcome by all of these different emperors of these different empires was the emperors were observing what they were doing, right? And the emperors were using that as an excuse to meanwhile, the people of God were quarreling amongst each other, not paying attention to the fact that, hello, there's this opponent coming up against us. And I do believe that's also what's happening today. I do believe that for some reason, us, the people of God, continually fall back into quarreling amongst ourselves. Meanwhile, the enemy is observing and looking at our weaknesses and using our weaknesses against us, right? And I've told you guys that as a game player, as somebody who's played games of all types of games, video games, games in person as a physical person, board games, phone games, whatever games, every type of gaming that there is, I've been involved in it. And I've told you guys, even competitions, whether it be whether it be sporting competitions, whether it be any other type of competition. I'm trying to think what other kind of competitions have I done. Anyways, you guys get the gist. One thing I've always realized is that understanding the weaknesses of your opponent is an advantage, and it's an advantage that can actually supersede talent, supersede anything else, right? And it was also the strategy that intelligent game players use is to know the weaknesses of your enemy. And unfortunately, our opponent is very well aware of our weaknesses and is very well utilizing them against us. Henceforth, even division, henceforth, again, Adam and Eve, he used their weaknesses against them. Boom, bang, bing. Here we are in 2024. So I believe that I've said to God, I was like, God, there's really no point me playing this game of life if I don't understand my opponent, if I don't understand what I'm up against. And I think it's been severely unwise that in general, as people, as the winning team, that we have not stopped to think properly about that. Because how do you even know that what you're doing in life or to come against your enemy is the right thing if you don't even know what your enemy's doing, right? So that's why this was, for me, I had to get to this point. There was no option for me to step into a winning season until I understood my opponent, because otherwise I'm going in blind. And listen, the Lord did not create us to be blind. In fact, where our eyes are supposed to be, we're supposed to now see with an even different level of sight, that courtesy of, the good Lord Jesus Christ, who restored our relationship with God. So that's what this series is going to be about. I'm going to start off, the first video is going to be talking about, did you know that there are underground tunnels between Madison Square Garden in the United States and Buckingham Palace? Yeah, in the UK. And that's going to be a bit of a bomb for some people. Although I did mention this in a previous series, which this is kind of like a new updated version, some years back, where I was talking about child trafficking being the biggest business in the world, right? Which I do believe child trafficking, child sacrificing and all that, child trafficking especially, is the biggest business in the world. I do believe that, and I'm going to explain why that is, because it has everything to do with the opponent and what is required for him to do exactly what he is doing. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is just the introduction to explain to you guys why that is. We're also going to end off, I believe, on me explaining to you exactly who I think built the underground tunnels, because this is what's going to get interesting. Because I'll just give you guys a little teaser that this underground tunnel concept, they are everywhere. It's nothing new, and it goes all the way back to decades and decades, probably hundreds of years ago. In fact, I think there's the potential that it goes thousands of years ago that these things, anyway, were even built. But we won't get into it, otherwise this video will start to sound more like the actual thing. So buckle up, everyone. Buckle up, get ready, have an open mind, have an open heart. Okay, a lot of it's going to sound insane, but it's only going to make sense and come together when you see all the pieces together, and then you realize that each of those insane things, when put together, make one piece of a puzzle that actually makes sense. And then I'm also going to talk in this series about how you and your life and your you and your life and your what am I trying to say here? How can I put this? You and what your part to play in is this, sorry, is what I'm trying to say. Because you might be thinking, well, I don't take a side, I'm in the middle. Oh, how you are sorely mistaken. And in fact, if you do feel that way, this is more for you than anybody else. Because that means, as I said, there's only two sides to this. So if you feel like you're just in the middle, that means you might be blindly being puppeteered on one or the other side. And all I'm saying is, listen, you got one life to live. You may want to make sure that wherever you are is exactly where you want to be, and that you're not playing into the hands of something you don't want to be involved in. Yeah, so buckle up, everybody. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this series. Shout out to the winning team. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being the reason I'm able to get to this point, because literally you guys have been here along the way. We've been on this journey together, and you guys, if you guys are going to be ready for this more than anybody else, because you already know all the puzzle pieces. I'm just about to put them together. Anyways, you guys, if life's a game, it's pay to win. Stay tuned. This is just the introduction. Part 1 is coming up. There's obviously going to be a playlist. You can watch all the way through. Highly recommend you do it that way, because then it makes more sense. Because I'm going to try and, build the case in a logical pathway. Other than that, you guys, God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.